What's up, guys? I'm Dylan,
I'm Kevin,
and we're
here to give you a sense of direction. We'll get that.
We'll get that sometime.
Today, we're going to be talking about budgeting and why it's important. Dylan, do you know what a budget is?
A budget is pretty simple. It is supposed to help you see where you're actually spending your money and help you save towards your financial goals.
Yes.
Today, we have a mock budget to go over.
I think this is McTurtlestein.
Yeah,
I think we're using his.
McTurtlestein.
Yeah.
Let's see. So a basic budget is what we're going over right now. Needs to have a couple things. You need to have your fixed expenses, which are going to be your rent, your car payment, insurance, bills, and then
you got the variables?
Variables?
Yeah, variables would be kind of like things that you spend money on, but that the amount of it changes. So it could be groceries, entertainment, gas, how gas fluctuates on a weekly, daily basis. So yeah, that's the two main things you want: fixed and variable costs.
Yes. And as you all know, saving is very important. The earlier you start, the better. So we have what to do with your leftover money after you pay your fixed costs and your variable costs. Some of your leftover money should go towards your savings account. If you don't already have an IRA or a stock account, there are some very easy investment tools, such as Acorns is a really big one my boss loves. He's an accountant, so I trust him.
I actually have an Acorns account too. It is actually pretty nice.
Nice. Yeah. And so we'll dive deeper into IRAs and stocks and all of that stuff in a later episode. But just keep that in mind when you're planning your budget, to just think about your future. It's nice to make sure that your living day to day is taken care of, but it's also your older self will really thank you when you get to retire at like 65. I don't really know what retirement age is nowadays, but that sounds nice.
Yeah, retirement sounds nice. Or you can work until you're in the grave. That's also an option too.
Hey, if you love what you do.
This is what I've heard.
If you
love what you do, then you're never going to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not worse. All right, let's get into it with Turtle T. McTurtlestein. We have two columns here. One is our budgeted and one is our actual expenses. The budget, I want to say, for your income, if you're an hourly employee, which most of us nowadays are, I would go with what has been your lowest paycheck.
Yes.
Because you don't want to spend money or budget money that you aren't guaranteed. So what is your bare minimum income if you only worked
40 hours?
So Turtle T, I like that. Turtle
T racking in 2K.
Yeah, he's whacking it.
I'm going to start calling him Big Turtle T, because those big bucks right there.
His rent is $500. I had him splitting it with someone because I don't think anyone could get $500. I mean, if you do, that's sick as hell, man. I have his car payment at $400, his insurance at $150, utilities also, since I had him kind of living with someone else and splitting some of those expenses. He's splitting the utilities and paying for the internet himself, because he's not paying all those utility bills.
And he's an entrepreneur, so he needs that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, he needs that.
I'm honestly kind of curious of what car Turtle T drives.
He just bought it. I googled average car payments, because I actually just paid off my car, which tanked my credit. But I was like, what? I know back in the day, like I had friends that like their car payment were like $300, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I had him. He just bought a new car for himself. So
good for him.
He's $400 a month. Because sometimes you have bills that are a lot. Maybe you did want that new car. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the car payment. Maybe they have credit card bills or
Yeah.
student loans that they have to pay back. So either way, make sure you know what you need to pay
Yes.
or
Get
pay
that out the
off.
way first.
Yeah, get that
That's
out of the way. Then we have his variable costs, groceries, takeout, entertainment, gas. I guess he's not really entertainment.
and we're talking about fuel when we talk about gas, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Although that would be that would be a crazy.
I don't know. I feel like
Hey, if Turtle T needs it, then like
he's stressed out, dude.
yeah,
He's an
it
entrepreneur.
helps, man. Yeah. So we have. Do we want to just keep going down, or should I go over the like total parts?
I feel like
'Cause
I had a good point I was about to make, and then it just slipped my mind. So yeah, let's just keep going down.
Let's go to those like the kind of outline box in the budgeted column for his fixed bill cost. There, that 820 number that's down there is how much left over is from his income.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so in the actual where he got paid $200 more, that number is a little bit more because there's his fixed is fixed. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was a $1,180 for the fixed variables that he has to pay every month. The groceries, takeout, entertainment, gas, subscriptions. That's kind of like the ideal, or those are going to be something you tailor to your specific needs.
To your
like
lifestyle.
If you're like, I don't.
This is where you have a lot of like, depending on how much you want to save, this is where you'll have a lot more leeway to kind of make some changes, because like groceries, you don't have to have, if you're getting groceries, you don't really need takeout, but I'm not here to judge because I don't like cooking that much either. As far as entertainment and like gas, I don't know about you. I like to go on a cruise every now and then. Just kind of don't go home, take a long way home. So, I mean, that'll rack it up a little bit. But these are things that you can adjust based on if that leftover amount isn't what you like, Like, if you want to save more money, then these are the areas that you can kind of tweak a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. So with that, those totals at the bottom of the variable cost, that's the correct math for what you're seeing. So that's the 150, 50, 282 added up. And that is what we're working on with when we subtract. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we're going to subtract that number from 820 at the top from our fixed costs, and that is what we get the leftover number of 338. Out of that, we have 138 going to savings, and then splitting IRA and stock with 100 each, and that is just to make sure that you're preparing for your future.
Yes.
But on the actual side, Turtle had a little bit more to put in his savings and both of the IRAs and stocks. What you do with your leftover money, if you're like, actually, I only really want to put $100 into the savings and I want to spend the rest on a concert ticket or something, you can still do that. This is not like grid and lock for yourself, but it is good to have set boundaries for yourself and a roadmap of where you're going.
Yes.
So that you know where you're going. I lost myself in the middle of that.
She got lost in the sauce because she's so excited about saving money. It's kind of like you get on autopilot. You just start talking about it, and you're just looking at the numbers, and
it's that like the math, like.
So basically, it's like any money that you save is good. That's a good start, and then you can kind of just build on that.
Yeah.
Once you start seeing that amount grow and grow, you're gonna want more. You're gonna want to spend less on things that you don't really need, which is another good way to look at it. It'd be wants and needs. What you really want and what you really need.
I think it's also important to know that contributing to your savings is also contributing to yourself when like your car breaks
Yeah,
down,
some
or you
shit
have
goes
to,
down.
like something unpredictable that you have to pay for. You're set for yourself. You're not like, oh shoot, how do I
Is that
come
what
up with?
they mean when they say save it for a rainy day?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have just a baseline for a safety net of a goal of $1,000 in your saving account.
Yes.
That's just baseline. If your car breaks down, if something happens to your apartment, if your laptop gets stolen, you
Yeah.
can kind of cover that and be okay. Extra cushion. Now, if you are already at that $1,000 in your saving account and you would like another goal to set yourself towards, because you should always be moving your goals.
Right. You want to climb
Continue
that ladder.
striving, yeah. My boss had recommended 6 months of your fixed costs and your variable costs on that budget side. Save however much 6 months of that would be. So in case you're at your job and your boss is being a dick, you can leave without worrying
Yeah.
of, you have 6 months
And
to
you don't
find a
have.
job.
You also don't have to be cordial about it because you have
Yeah.
what the kids call "f you" money. You can just,
Yes!
So just think about it like that. You want to save up so you can have use some "f you" money
Yeah.
when everything's get real. But yeah.
Whoa, okay.
It's got flashbacks from all the terrible jobs I had.
I know. This past job was the only job, well, my last job before this job was the only time that I actually had a little bit of cushion. When they laid me off, as I was getting ready for work, got a call from corporate and they said, don't even bother coming in.
You know what's crazy about that? I don't know if you've been paying attention, but their stocks actually went down after they fired you.
Really?
Yeah. So
we're not going to say who that is. But yes, yeah, it's all because of me.
I mean, valuable
Not because
assets.
they're misspending all of their money.
No, it has nothing to do with finance.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Maybe another day. No one made me sign an NDA or anything, so. But nah.
Next episode.
I am grateful
Dylan's
for that
dirty
experience.
secrets.
Yeah. Because it led me here, and honestly, I've never been more grateful for a job and opportunity that I have here. So thank you, Scott and Calvin, because you helped hire me. So now you kind of know what things you should be looking for when making your budget. Now, what happens if I want to do something fun? I don't have money yet, or I want my $1,000 to stay my $1,000 safety cushion. What should I do then? I think.
Well, wait, are you saying what should you do if you don't have any money or you don't want to spend your saved money?
No, I'm saying like I want to do something.
Yes.
And how do I incorporate that into this budget that I already have?
Oh, okay. Well, first you want to determine what it is you want to do, if it's a big expense or a small expense, and then just kind of plan for it, right?
Yeah. And I would actually say for this part, go research like the max expenses, because you don't want to go to plan a trip or go to a festival or a weekend out on the town and not have enough money for the Uber because drinks were more expensive than you thought. So
it'd be kind of like the opposite of when you're trying to estimate your income. You want to go with the lowest amount of money that you actually get.
Yeah.
But whenever you're planning something, like a trip or something, you would want to think of what's the most expensive thing it could be, and then just aim towards that.
And I don't mean like, well, what if I save enough money to eat lobster all week that I've got? Oh no, man! Like you'll probably still need to buy a Jimmy John's or like.
Let's not lie. You're gonna go to McDonald's.
Yeah. So make it a reasonable, like know what is most expensive in that city. How much is the venue if you're doing something specific? Know about the area. Google hotel prices, and honestly, if you know for sure
Airbnbs.
when you have, Airbnbs are cool. if you know for sure your dates already, then you should probably already have some money towards whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
But if you're planning like a big trip, get those hotel and your plane tickets like as soon as you decide that you are ready to have a trip. Just because plane tickets are
Yeah, they'd be
crazy.
expensive. Unless you're going on Spirit Airlines, and those are actually pretty cheap.
Hey, what's the one? Wasn't there like an airline that was like, let's try standing seats to save money? Was that or was that fake?
That sounds like Spirit.
It could have been fake. I'm not checking that.
I'm not getting
myself.
on that plane. But
I see that article and I'm like, that's crazy.
No.
And I like.
Can never be me.
Okay, so let's talk about this in a real life scenario. My friend in Dallas has told me for many years she wants me to go to ACL with her. And every year I'm like, I don't know, man. Ticket price is crazy. I don't have $400 right now.
All right.
But,
and just for reference, we are in Oklahoma. We're not in Texas.
Oklahoma. So I'd have to drive. I'd have to pay for lodging. I'd have to pay for food, drinks. And I know that festivals are crazy. I've never been to one actually, but I just know. I know.
We all know about festival culture. Come on.
So speaking of ACO, there's different price packaging. All music festivals are going to have tiered list of the prices.
Yep.
For general admissions, it looks like it is $339, and that is just getting you entry into the grounds. They have.
What would you round that up to? Would you go 350 or would you go 400?
I'd probably do 350 in my brain just because I like fives.
You like fives?
I like fives.
I do like fives too. But the sixes look nice too. It's like it's a cursive five.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then they have the next one underneath that.
General admission plus.
And it jumps from $339 to $1,037. That is crazy. And all it does, well, okay, you do kind of get.
And this is for the 3 days though, right?
Yeah, this is for all 3 days.
Cool. So
for 1 weekend. For 1 weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the lineup isn't even out yet. Like, and my friend and her friends that are going, they've already bought their tickets in advance from like last year they bought it. They also did the Afterpay. So they didn't pay.
Never heard of Afterpay.
Really?
What is Afterpay?
It's where you can purchase an item and usually most of them like a Klarna or I think Klarna's the biggest one that for Afterpay. It's interest free. And you have a certain amount of months, usually it's 4 months, to kind of pay
it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it basically, so if this was, let's just say 400 because that's easier. If
So
it was
$100 a month.
You'd have, But I think for this particular festival, you have to do like a deposit fee. So it's a little bit more. And then you have like 3 months to pay off the rest. I could not think of that word.
I do like that the general admission plus has complimentary water and drink.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Look at that, climate controlled bathrooms. All the rest of them
I'm guessing
are going
general
to porta
admission.
potties.
Oh, dude, I understand why it's expensive now.
Yeah, but that's still crazy, and it looks like a.
Turns out it's actually just like a nicer porta potty, but it's still a porta potty. It just has like a fan in there.
But full service bar and preferred price, what does that mean? I would actually like to know because...
I think you just go in there and you just name your price.
Oh, okay. $1.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not paying $12 for that.
But I wonder if that actually means like general admission plus, there's like a plus bar and then there's a regular bar and the preferred price is like, well, if you bought the plus, then it's only $10 for a beer. And if you didn't, it's $30.
True, because that is what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's the next one? Platinum, first class viewing areas.
No, that's the next one is VIP.
Oh, okay. Platinum is the last one.
Yeah, because that's the last one.
God.
So VIP has dedicated viewing area of the main stage. Okay, interesting. I wonder how they.
So this all just boils down to like what you want to experience.
Yeah.
You know, if you're cool with just like sitting on the grass and just listening to music, then just get the general admission. You know.
Yeah. Which I think is the vibe
Yeah.
in my price point for that. But I'll put a picnic
Don't just
blanket
get the
down.
platinum because all your friends get into platinum and their parents bought their tickets for them.
Yeah.
Just get the general admission. Wi-Fi and mobile charging. Actually, that's not that bad.
But that's $6,000.
But it's not worth $6,000, dude. That's like
That's
as much as my
crazy.
car
Yeah.
is worth now.
And also with festivals, in particular with ACL, like you have to research what you can and cannot bring in. Are you forced to only buy the food and drinks there? Can you bring a cooler in? I'm not sure, but you should definitely research these before you go.
Yeah.
And then also, just in general, if you're going to be outside for a very long time, you should kind of have a schedule for water and sunscreen. I hate to sound like the mom of the group, but
Mama bear.
hey man, I just got
Sunburnt?
my sunburnt shoulder just finally peeled off because I was at 7 hours outside at a farmer's
Nice.
market. So,
Nice.
well,
Well, speaking of that,
yeah.
do you have any like funny festival stories or disasters?
Okay, actually, I do. And this kind of goes into like you need to figure out what the prices are for food and water. Like if you're not allowed to bring in a cooler of your own water, how much is it for a bottle of water there? Because for my 21st birthday, I was lucky enough to go to Vegas. I went with a friend. Yes, my parents paid for me. Thank you, Mom and Dad. That was my gift. And I got to go to a DJ pool party at the Wynn. And the ticket was like, doors open at 9 a.m. And
Jesus.
whoever the DJ is that we were seeing, which I can't remember if it was like Calvin Harris or Testito or some one of those
one of the big
kind
ones.
of. He didn't show up until like 4 p.m.
Oh, nice.
And my dad was like, you have to be there right at the doors because you need
Yeah.
a good spot. And I'm like, yes, I'm right there with you. I love getting there early to get a good spot.
Good spot in the pool?
No, just to put your bags and stuff down.
Right.
Because it did get really packed, like, the closer it was approaching to the DJ. But for a bottle of water, it was like $40 for one single bottle of beer was like $65, and then for a mixed drink it was like $80, and I was like, no way these people pay
This
for
is
that.
pre-inflation too.
Yeah, that was
That's
not
ridiculous.
that old. 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
That's yeah. So see, that's a good example of you always want to overestimate your expenses because
Yes.
I think $10 in my head was like the limit for how much a water bottle should cost. 30 is a little out there.
Yeah,
So,
but if you're out in the Vegas sun, like you're like, I'm dying. Fine, I'll pay the $30. Fuck you. Oh, sorry. Sorry. But yeah. So we already said that. Never mind. I was gonna recap on the like when you're making your budget, you want to do your lowest paycheck, but when you're planning a budget for an activity,
yeah.
do your max expense. Because okay, let's say I saved $1,000 to go to this, which I think is a lot, and I
Yes.
would be so hurt if I had to spend $1,000 for
We could
one
do like
single weekend.
an ask the audience, kind of like Dora the Explorer. Like, okay, if you save $1,000, which one should you pick?
Oh, no. I'm getting the general admission. I'm
There
just
we
saying,
go.
like, for food, the housing, and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't actually use that $1,000, whatever I don't use gets to go back into my savings. Or,
Yeah.
or I could buy a t-shirt that I didn't actually have in my budget before or something, Because, yeah, if you're going to a festival or a concert or something, you gotta have a merch budget. Especially if you like them. If you don't like them, then fine. Don't be a poser. Everyone hates that.
So I think a good recap would be this whole episode is just really about planning and thinking ahead
Yes.
about your expenses. And
And the budget's not scary. I feel like growing up, were you ever like a budget?
I don't think it's scary. I think, well,
I was like, it's restrictive and like
It
it's
just sounds boring.
yeah.
Budget sounds boring, and yes, it is restrictive.
But in a good way. You don't have to like tie your hands behind your back and be like, I'm gonna save all of my
But
leftover.
yeah,
You know, like you
it
can
comes
still
it comes
have
down
fun.
to, do you want to be anxious or do you want to know? If you want to be anxious, don't have a budget and just buy whatever the fuck you want. Buy whatever you want. Buy whatever you want, and just kind of like get those butterflies in your stomach when you're gonna check your account after like a night out, and just like you already know like, oh, this is not gonna be good. But if you have a budget, you'd be like, dude, we're splurging tonight, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting one drink, and then we're going home, and that's it. Anyways.
I'd much rather have I guess I have a little extra in my budget. I guess I will have another round, or versus the pit in your stomach. I spent how much last
Yeah.
night?
And then you're asking for Venmos at the end of the night and they're gone.
Yeah.
No.
And then that goes back to make sure you
Have good friends.
yeah. Make sure you trust the people that you surround yourself with. That's just life advice in general.
All right, Mom.
All right, Kirby.
Okay. How do we
How do we want to close? I don't remember how we closed last time.
I think we just say our names, and then
Oh.
we just gave you a sense of direction.
Okay. You go.
No, you go.
I am Dylan.
And I'm Kevin, and we
We-
just gave you a sense of direction.
Yes, we did. Hopefully.